Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our program today. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. I'll be your host today, and we have a real interesting show. I've had a chance to meet Dr. Kate McFarLand, Ph.D. We've done some shows on other topics, basic income being one of them, and we've dialogue in a group, individually. I've had the opportunity and the honor of talking to her and learning from her a great deal just behind the scenes. And today we were doing that as well before we did the show. And she sent me an email about a week ago. And I sat there and I sort of stared at myself, stared at the mirror, and I thought, I'm not sure I understand what she's talking about. She's going to become a digital nomad in the summer of 2018, and I have no idea what it is. I did a little bit of research, so, but I still sort of scratched my head, and I thought, I still don't get it, and that's what made it so interesting. That would pique my curiosity to no end. Kate is a resident of Columbus, Ohio, and she spent most of her adult life as a professional student, BS in mathematics, master's in statistics. Oh, God, statistics is hard. And PhD in philosophy from Ohio State University, working temporary academic jobs. Beginning in May 2016, she took time away from her full-time employment to concentrate on pro bono work in philosophy, curriculum design, and many volunteer projects. And of course, she continues her work on basic income movement. I've learned so much from you and the group. I can't thank you enough for that. Now you're going to become a digital nomad. What is a digital nomad, Kate?
Well, as I understand the term, which is fairly new to me as well, it's a digital nomad is someone who can work remotely, usually online, and therefore decides to travel around the world with a laptop, or at least leave their home country with their laptop and work from wherever. Often, in part because of visa restrictions, digital nomads do travel from country to country fairly frequently, rather than simply establishing a home base somewhere else.
Wow. Where did the inspiration come from?
Less inspiration than necessity, combined with having to be location independent. So for about the past year and a half, I have had work, or in the case of this year, non-work, that is location independent. Completely so. So I was in academia for a while, as you mentioned in your introduction, and there I had flexible work hours, but of course was always tied to the institution. I'd have to go in to teach, or go in to take a class, or go in to keep office hours. Last year, my only job was as an editor for Basic Income News, which was entirely a remote position. And I'm certain that whatever I do next, I want to keep working remote, location independent jobs. But so given that, the question arises, why do I stay in Columbus? So in the course of working for Basic Income, I happen to meet someone who lives in another continent, so have to travel a good bit. I also, for a long time, have wanted to get out of Columbus because I don't like cold weather. I don't like our winters. I also don't particularly like our summers. And so why not try to move somewhere else that better fits my interests, desires, and needs to travel frequently to see somebody? The problem is there's no particular ideal place that I found. I don't want to be a nomad, really. I don't want to be itinerant. I would like to settle down in the ideal place. I just don't know where that is. So that forces me, I don't even know well enough where I would sign a 1 year's lease somewhere else. So that forces me to adopt this digital nomad lifestyle. It's not that I'm adventurous and have wanderlust and want to explore the world. It's that I'm indecisive, or there's simply just too much uncertainty.
Well, I mean, I would honestly say that most people in the world, I think I've read statistically, are afraid of public speaking. And I wonder how many people would be afraid of change, especially unknown change, when you're you're not being forced into it. You're actually deciding that you're basically going to sort of wet your tongue and sort of see where the wind takes you and go in that direction. That's pretty heavy duty stuff.
Yeah, it is. I'm sometimes intimidated by public speaking as well. And I have to say, this is scarier to give up nearly all of my possessions and leave the place I'm familiar with and not have stable housing figured out for the next year, not even the next few months yet.
Well, you know, if I may throw my 2 cents worth, everything you have is there. You may put it away or you may give it away. You can acquire it back when you get back, wherever back from is. But the idea of taking the step forward, what is it? Is it a Chinese proverb? To take a long trip, the first process is to take the first step and then just keep going and seeing where life takes you?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Oh, you're the philosophy major. What am I talking about? You're the one who knows. How have you been able to deal with that internal turmoil that I think is all humans would have? Oh my God, what's going to happen? What if this? What if that? And then people have around you, some circles, large or small, we have people saying, you're crazy. What are you doing? How do you deal with all that?
Well, right now it's still far enough away, although almost 3 months. It's closing in. But I'm just now beginning to feel the reality of it. So I think the distance kind of helps psychologically. I do have the confidence. I feel confident that I can be able to find places to live that I can afford and where I can live legally. And making a draft itineraries, sketching out possible plans, and it gives me the confidence that there will be options, right? Lots of options. I won't end up homeless and destitute. And I do take, I can glean some courage from the fact that even just staying in a furnished Airbnb in many parts of the Asia Pacific or Eastern Europe or South America, there are many places in the world where I could rent an apartment that's fully furnished for a month for less than I'm paying in rent in my below market price apartment in a low cost American city. So actually one of the bigger issues for me, given this, is not the practical, although there are a lot of practical concerns, but the ethical. When I realize how much this lifestyle relies on using my American money to afford a decent standard of living in relatively impoverished areas, I start thinking, am I implicitly endorsing this process of gentrification or colonialism or imperialism? My own motives seem pure, my own rationale seems justified, but I'm not the only digital nomad out there. There are other digital nomads who I'm sure feel very justified in their decisions, and as individuals might be making a rational choice for no morally problematic reasons. But if a bunch of people have location-independent jobs and end up pursuing the same lifestyle, which it makes sense, right? Especially if you're trying to work mostly for free, doing volunteer projects and pro bono work, it makes sense to go where one's savings and the income that one has can go the farthest. But in doing so, if we Westerners run the risk of coming in and crowding out local cultures and communities, if there's an influx of digital nomads into a certain area, then their businesses will come in that cater towards not the people who already are there, but the digital nomads, because they're the ones with money. So you end up developing these westernized settlements in other countries. Meanwhile, prices go up and the people who originally lived there can no longer afford it. So, I know there actually is a new film out on that deals with the issue. I just learned about this the other day. One Way Ticket is the title. It deals with this question of, is the digital nomad trend colonialism or gentrification? So I haven't watched this yet. I'll be interested to see to know more research and what others have thought about whether the extent to which this is an ongoing problem. But I think that practices like the one I'm about to undertake do raise such ethical concerns.
You know, I shared with you earlier, a couple of months ago, my wife and I went to Antarctica. And with that, we've been to all 7 continents. We've been, you know, on land as well as at sea, at ports. Very blessed to have done that. One of the things that I find is that as I travel more around the world, people are more aware of world affairs than they are inside the United States. People are more mixed. The mixture is higher outside of the United States than here. If for a variety of reasons, wars or conflicts or economic exchanges, students, it's more diverse than it is in the United States. Here, politically speaking, it seems like there's really that stratification. In Europe, it's exactly the opposite because they've had to. They're in smaller spaces, or they're, so, you know, I've been in Slovakia, and they were asking me about Mexico. I thought, and they were singing to me in Spanish. I thought, where did you learn all this? They said, oh, we watch Mexican soap operas all the time. It's our favorite. You know, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we doing here? In the Netherlands, I've met people who were from Peru. It's more mixed than it is here. So I think you're going to be, my experience to you is that I think you're going to enjoy the diversity that is there, that in mid-US, we don't see much of it.
Oh yeah, no doubt that I will enjoy it and that other digital nomads do also. But the question is, if enough people do this, will it end up hurting the local communities? And that's something I don't know the answer to, but I think that it is a serious concern given what we know about gentrification.
I think one of us there isn't going to change everything. I mean, if we took 500,000 of us and moved us and plopped us there. I think, but you're a researcher. You're actually lending yourself to learn what's there, and you're bringing back this information to us. Oh, I applaud what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
We're out of convenience, and I think that even if I am just one person and other digital nomads are just one people, that's not the right question to ask when asking for if an action is ethically justified. You know, we should ask, what could other people in my situation also do this? You know, would problems result if everyone who could possibly do this also undertook the same action? Otherwise, right, if there's a problem, if everyone else did the same thing that I'm doing, then it seems like I'm somehow treat myself as an exception.
Well, being that you're a PhD, here's I'm setting this proposal now. Here we are 3 months before you go. As a professional, we're going to ask you post whenever you come back, or wherever you finally say, this is where I'm going to make roots. We're going to ask you that question again. It says, how do you feel now about that very question that you're raising right now? Because I'm sure it's going to change. This
is the thing that I'm going to be thinking about as I continue to go through with wherever my life takes me.
I think it's so fantastic. I do applaud. You're right. The weather is number one. The food, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
When in doubt, this sounds really crazy, but when in doubt, you're not sure you should be drinking the water there, drink beer or wine. It works. It works. It really does. You know, there's other things about it. Like I said, learning through traveling. A lot of places, if they say, I don't want no water, I say, you got beer? They say, yeah, I'll drink the beer. And for that reason, people say, oh, you're always, no. I have to hydrate. But, you know, well, anyway, it's a nice way to hydrate. Anyway, moving along. Wow. So we're talking right now. We are in April. You're thinking of doing this in 3 months from now. How can we, the viewers, I don't know, we would like to sponsor you. I'd like to, you know, send you $5 to buy a beer or something somewhere. as long as you keep us connected and tell us what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing as you're traveling and as you're moving along, and how can we do this? I'm excited.
Well, thank you. I want to mention, I'm not accepting sponsorship for travel in particular, but I do accept general donations. I think it's important to mention that this digital nomad adventure isn't my main project for this year. It's a sub-project that it occurs in the context of a general life experiment, which I blog about. My blog, it's not very, I haven't gone very far with it yet, so it's just a WordPress site. It's Useless Living, that's all one word, uselessliving.wordpress.com. And there you can find, if you want to sponsor me, you can find links to my Patreon page and my PayPal page. But insofar as I'm asking for donations or sponsors, it's for the general project that I mentioned too, and we'll get back to that. I'm a critic of the culture of work. There are many things that can be meant by that. The idea that paid work in particular should dominate our lives, and that nearly all of our activities from education on should be seen and assessed as valuable through the lens of whether or not they render us employable, whether or not they render us good, high-paid workers. And I've always, to some extent, rejected the traditional work culture in my own life. I've never worked a full-time job. I've never signed a contract for more than 1 year. But I've never really gone all the way and told myself, well, I'll just do whatever I feel like, whatever seems right, whatever seems like the best way I can help the world, whatever my passions are, let's follow whatever I'm inclined to pursue without even worrying about whether in the long range it could give me potentially marketable skills or employable credentials. Even when I have been pursuing life as a professional student, as you mentioned earlier, just pursuing knowledge for the sake of knowledge, even in the back of my mind, I thought, well, I'm developing research and writing skills, and those things at least could be marketed down the line if I need to get a job. So this year, for the first time, I found myself without any type of employment. I was working a 1-year contract position as a writer for Basic Income News, which ended the beginning of the year. So I thought, I'll take advantage of this and embrace this new total freedom in my life and just say, rather than setting about to get a new job or setting about to acquire skills that will make me employable for a new job or credentials that will make me employable for a new job, I'll just give myself complete reign to pursue whatever passions and interests fall upon me. And this is my current life experiment. And this is the thing that I'm actually dedicating my blog to. As it turns, so I should mention that I've coming from the basic income movement, occasionally see groups that will sponsor individuals for a 1-year basic income. They give people $1,000 a month or something for a year, and the experiment is to see what that individual ends up doing when they're given money that doesn't depend on their doing any work for it. So in a sense, I think of this as my own personal self-financed basic income experiment. If I just pay my own salary for a year and let myself be free to pursue whatever I want, what will I do? And the nature of many of my blog, I post monthly updates on what I'm doing. So it just happened that one consequence of this freedom was that I realized, well, I'm not committing myself to any job. Therefore, I'm not committing myself to a job in Columbus. So this seems like a good year to finally break the inertia that's been holding me here to this apartment and let myself move elsewhere. So the digital nomad experiment occurs in the context of this broader experiment. What would I do if I gave myself complete free reign to live however I'm inclined?
I am very hopeful. I know that's not your intent, but I'm very hopeful that you give us the opportunity, all the viewers, to follow your blog, learn from you what you're doing, and at the end, have you back again to see the pre and post. And numero uno is to see a book from you, read about, so that we can learn, so that it's testimonial to others, especially women. The idea is consider this option. And we don't have to say around the world. It could be around the country. It could be around, you pick 2 continents. It could be, a variety. But the whole concept of going out and giving yourself the maximum opportunity to see, enjoy, explore, not doing things strictly for money, but you're doing it because you think there's something to be seen on the other side of the mountain. And I applaud you for that. I don't think I've run into anybody like that, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I really do hope that, the main reason I'm doing this, doing it publicly, is that I do hope to inspire others, but I realize that very few people have the means to engage in this in their own lives. But I really hope to be provocative and to help people to think differently about the value that we as a society place specifically on paid work. And it's the way that we devalue work that's done for its own sake or for the good of society, for the good of humanity. And the way that we also devalue the appreciation of what might stereotypically be called leisure activities in their own right. There's more to a well-rounded, fulfilling life than participation in some paid job or advancement along the career path.
Wow. I'm just thinking, so many ideas are running through my head. I just sitting here like, wow, this is really great.
When I say more to life, I don't mean individuals right now in the system as we have it, you should abandon your job and your career path. If you have the means, if you have the economic stability, then yeah, consider trying this out. But I also mean people who are envisioning policies for the future don't feel wedded to this idea that we need full-time employment for everyone because this is central to human worth. There are other alternatives, and I hope to be a model to show that fulfillment in human life doesn't require a high salary or a stable career, and that policymakers should consider options beyond ones that promote full employment.
Well, one thing I see from you is that you're being proactive. You're not really waiting for somebody to create this structure for you. You're sort of creating it on your own. You're taking the initiative. You're taking us with you. That's what I like. The whole idea that you have the ability to blog and keep us abreast and let us know what you're doing and all that. I think it's I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go out there with you, and I want to learn more. Do we have to sign up for your WordPress so that we get it, or do we have to go to your website? How does this work?
Right now, my only website is the free WordPress site. It's, again, Useless Living is my username. So it's uselessliving, one word, .wordpress.com. I'm also on Facebook with the handle Useless Living, and my links can be found there.
So which one do you recommend, being that you have several? Which one will be the most consistent one that will be more up to date?
I would recommend just following the WordPress blog directly. I also mentioned I also have a Patreon account. Even if you don't want to give me any money there, you can follow me. And I do post updates there, and like sharing blog posts or other announcements about what I'm doing. And one of my policies for using Patreon is that all of my content is free to the public. I never post anything that's only can be visible to funders. I don't give any special perks to funders.
As you may know, I have a Facebook page, Latinas and Cafe, which is merely stories for women. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to get that information again. Also, if you could email it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to post it there and recommend that whoever is seeing it, obviously through my regular network, also post it and invite people to follow you, especially families that have young daughters and girls in high school, college, who want to see beyond just the front door of their house, want to follow something meaningful, that they follow you. And like that to myself. And as you know, I travel around the world still, doing lectures on cruise ships. So hopefully we'll meet somewhere. My wife and I will have the three of us will sit down, have a beautiful dinner, have some beer or wine, and be able to learn where you're at, But the idea is to, oh my God, I'm so excited. The energy just runs so high. I don't want to lose track of where you're going. And I want all my network to know what you're doing and follow you and learn from the process. If you're willing to go out there and put yourself in this wonderful experience, we should all learn from you. So please, one more time, what was that website again?
It's Useless Living.
And
yeah, .wordpress.com. And you can read more about what I mean by useless.
You remind me of that phrase, do you live to work or do you work to live? And you bring that philosophy question up to the surface. So we have to ask ourselves, were we born strictly to be machines and working all the time?
Yeah.
So
also, what do we mean by work? Do we mean doing what's necessary for the sustenance of society, or do we mean doing something that gives us pay, whether or not it even benefits society?
Oh, we could be here all day with it.
Yeah.
Never get a PhD with philosophy on the show, because it's going to go in many directions. I've learned that, and I just love it. And I hate cutting things off. It's like, oh my God, I could go on with that. But we're going to follow you. I definitely will. So I want to make that commitment, and I want the schools to follow you.
The aesthetics of my blog now that it actually has followers.
Oh, hey, you have one. You got me, and I'm sure we have others. But I know there are people that will follow you, and I would love to have students around the world follow you and hear your perspective, because you're doing something very unique, very wonderful, and I applaud what you're doing. And I'm here to support whatever I can. I'll be traveling also for about almost a month and a half, but I'm going to send you emails and say, are you available for a webcast to see where you're at, follow you as you're going along. And please, if there's anything we can do to support your venture, don't hesitate to let us know. But the WordPress is the one that I think our viewers should go to. And I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. I really appreciate your interest and enthusiasm and support for my project.
Hats off to you. And we're going to follow you. And this is going to be really exciting.
Any of your viewers out there, I know you've done episodes on the future of work and have often touched upon basic income. I will also be speaking at the North American Basic Income Conference in May, the end of May in Hamilton, Ontario, in a plenary session on this very topic, my life experiment. And I'm not sure if those panels will be live streamed or if there'll be recorded video available afterwards. If there is, I will post that or a link to that on my blog. If not, I'll at least give a summary of how the event went.
And like I said, if I'm in town, and you'll get my emails inviting you all the time, whenever you can, and we'll pursue you wherever you are. If it has to be in the middle of the night while you're out there surrounded by kangaroos, we'll do the show anyway.
The kangaroos would make it interesting, I think.
All right, Kate, I wish you luck. Éxito from our behalf. And again, members around the world, if you run into her, pull her aside and talk to her. It's been an experience to really learn so much from her. But the idea is that you're taking all of us with you in spirit, in support, and anything you can help us understand the world better, it's appreciated. And please, viewers, if you have access to a group of students, and want to learn about the world or different parts or perspective about doing what, Dr. McFarland is doing, please make it a project, make it a point. I mean, let's follow her around as she's going and learn from her. And what a great experience that we can all be with you. Okay?
Sounds great.
Thank you very much. And we'll keep in touch. We'll do this in series, but I wish you well. And we'll talk before I leave somewhere in May. Let's connect again. We'll do another show where you are from here to then, and then just continue onward with you. And this is going to be fun.
It will. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kate. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about the whole idea of becoming a digital nomad. What an exciting concept. It's a new one for me, but it's one that I really can see the appreciation to motivate people to think along these forms. So we've been talking to Dr. Kate McFarland. She's a Ph.D. becoming a digital nomad in 2018. And we'll continue to give out her address. I know I'm going to post a show where we can follow her. And I'm ready to go. I got my luggage just ready to go. And by God, let's go. I got my ticket. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's do it. Thank you.